like he said, actions speak louder than words. So that's the biggest thing here is like, if we say we're gonna do something, let's do it, you know. And it's super easy to like bullshit and
Yeah, 100%. I mean, think about how much stuff has come up in the last 2.5 years. Like, the first thing is like time flies, and another thing is you don't know what's going to come up next, you know. So with that being said, it just feels like you're on this roller coaster of stuff, and that's the beauty of like working out, you know, because it's very, very comparable to like building a business, you know. Like you work out so much, you eat good, you do all these different things, and you're not going to notice any little small changes here and there. And then like time will just fly by, and you look back and
you're like, damn, I was fat as fuck.
Yeah.
They said I fell out for a couple of years, bitch, I'm back and committed. My nigga, just know that I get it. Hey, watch how I get it. Look, I'm about to get.
All right, guys, so this is the first episode on this Barber Lifestyle YouTube channel. We got the Rodecaster, you know, we got headphones, we got mic stands, and we decided to go ahead and run this podcast. We've been talking about podcasting for about 2 years since Mo came over here to the barbershop.
Just about.
So it took a while, you know, to get all the gear, just that alone. Like, we have 2 nice cameras now. Like I said, we got the Rodecaster, we got some microphones, and it's not easy to just buy all this shit at once, you know. So that's why we've been kind of, in a sense, lying, because we'll be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it next week, we're gonna do it next month, this month, and it's just dragged out this long. But I think it's right now, you know. Right now we're inside this shop that we just built. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to build a good barbershop. You know, it's a nice clientele base. People can come over there and feel safe, have a good time. So we've built a nice barbershop culture over the past 2.5 years. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Mo, let him introduce himself and kind of let you guys know what part he plays in this whole barbershop.
100%. Look at this one, or which one?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I've been working here for, what, 2.5 years. I came in here right after barber school. So quick, like, overview. Pretty much I was going to OU whenever I started cutting hair as a job full-time, and started taking it real seriously. And as I started to progress, I got a barbershop. Things didn't go the way it was planned. COVID happened, ended up going to barber school. And after finishing barber school, I was kind of like in this state of trying to figure out where I was, you know. I had everything cleared for my name. I had, you know, finances, everything paid for. I had like this open ability to do what I wanted, and I was kind of searching for like what was the next move. And I played with like a bunch of different ideas in my head, but the one that cared the most to me was when I met you, you know. So you reached out to me whenever we had never met before, and upon reaching out to me, we talked for a little bit, and next thing I knew, you had this barbershop that you were starting out, was still a work in progress. Yeah. And within like 10 minutes of me kind of analyzing the situation, because speaking with someone is one thing, but then seeing action is another. And for me, it didn't matter what exactly was said or what exactly was happening, because I looked at the fact that your dad, you, and your dad's friend were all building the shop that day I was there, and I seen the work you guys put in. I saw the amount of exhaustion in your dad, like just sitting down, drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, and you could just see like this guy puts in work. Like, it doesn't matter how tired he is, he gets up and does it every day. So I felt pretty comfortable that, like, hey, you know, like if I join this shop from a worker's perspective, everything will be taken care of. I won't have any worries about anything, which is, you know, my biggest rule in the workplace is like you don't want to have other drama or other BS holding you back with regards to trying to excel in whatever your profession is, I guess. So I joined the shop a little over 2 years ago, and, you know, we've had barbers come in and out of that shop. It's tough not having like a solid core at first, because I know we're all individuals, but at the same time, like that family is what like brings you back, you know? And I'll kind of like refer back to that in a second, because I think it's a really important point. But over the last 2 years, I try my best to, I guess, like be in the shop and treat it as if I was the owner, you know, treat like,
yeah, for sure.
make sure stuff is taken care of with regards to other barbers, clients. There's a lot of stuff that goes unseen that I don't talk about, but I don't think anyone should really acknowledge it, because it's just what you're supposed to do if you care about a business. Like, there's a lot of times that, you know, you may not be in a shop, but, you know, I may be talking to Daniel or Noel about, you know, something that may have happened between you guys, just to make sure, like, air is clear, you know, people vent, talk about what they want to talk about, make sure everyone's happy.
And it's tough being in a spot with 6 other men.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
grown-ass man, fucking, yeah, it gets...
Now we got 8 now.
Yeah,
you know?
we got 8. So,
which is wonderful. Like, I actually love the bigger family, you know?
And it started out with basically me, and then, you know, Mo finished school, and I was like, I just randomly hit him up through Instagram. Like, I seen he graduated. I'm opening up a shop, and I was like, hey, bro, shit, you know, you want to come down here and work? Yep. And the biggest thing with him, he said, as long as I get a key, you know, I'm cool with it. And then another thing that I think, like he said, is set this shop apart, is that I said, I'm going to be doing content creation. I'm going to be doing, you know, podcasting. And he was like, well, I feel like I can gain more from being here at this shop than being anywhere else. So now me as an owner, you know, that's another pressure, like a little bit more pressure of, damn, like these guys can literally go work anywhere, you know? So what am I going to do to provide that's different, you know? And this is it, you know, content creation, creativity, that's my ballpark. So that's what I've been trying to do, is just get these guys motivated. And, you know, you lead by example. So it's like, I can't be telling them, no, yeah, do content, do this, do that, and then I'm not doing any of it, you know? So then now that's the role I've taken. Like, you know, I got this Barber Lifestyle YouTube channel going. We got all the gear for the podcast, and I was like, fuck it, you know, let's run it. And here we are.
Yeah.
And that's the play with everything, you know, like he said, actions speak louder than words. So that's the biggest thing here, is like, if we say we're going to do something, let's do it, you know? And it's super easy to like bullshit. And
yeah, 100%. I mean, think about how much stuff has come up in the last 2.5 years. Like, the first thing is like time flies, and another thing is you don't know what's going to come up next, you know? So with that being said, it just feels like you're on this roller coaster of stuff. And that's the beauty of like working out, you know, because it's very, very comparable to like building a business, you know? Like you work out so much, you eat good, you do all these different things, and you're not going to notice any little small changes here and there. And then like time will just fly by, and you look back and
you're like, damn, I was fat as fuck.
Yeah, like we shot a video, this was almost 2 years ago, you know, when the shop was first starting out, maybe 1.5 years or so. And I was wearing this exact same hoodie. And I don't know why I know that for, but I was wearing this exact same hoodie. And I remember like when you played that video back for me, I looked at myself and said, damn, like,
you were embarrassed a little bit.
Yeah, because like you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't want to think negatively of yourself. So like every day I look at myself like, man, I don't think I look that bad. And then that you see it on video and you're like, damn.
You're like, damn, I don't want to put that out.
Yeah, but
then it happens, man. I feel like when we started here, you know, a lot of the action was new. So it's like anxiety, you know. That's why people vape. That's why people smoke. That's all that. So I think there for a minute, food was a thing for us, because the boys at Lupita's down the street, you know, they hook us up so we could go down there and get a big quesadilla. And
good guys right there, man. Shout out Lupita's.
Yeah, man. Shout out El Gordito Sexy. That boy right there keeps us fed.
Yeah, man. Gordito, man. You're a good guy, bro. I don't know which camera I got to look at, but I got to tell you, you're a good guy. Not just him, but everyone over there. You know,
man. Everybody.
All great people, you know.
When we throw events, they come out here, give out free tacos, and, you know, they work hard, man. Like, I went and shot a video for them not too long ago, and I seen their system, and, you know, it's like somebody taking orders, somebody cooking, somebody putting the orders out, like, and it's respectable to just see some young dudes like us, you know, build systems to where they can pull up anywhere and just sell some stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of Lupitas, Andrew just texted me too, man. We wanted to be here really bad. He texted me. He's like, "You guys start recording yet?"
Yeah, man. See, sometimes that's the thing that sucks is like you have to go, you know? You have to, like today, it was a long day. I started cutting at like 8 in the morning.
No.
And then I had to go pick up my kids from school. I had to do a lot of stuff. And then I was like, man, you know, this podcast could wait. And then I thought to myself, like, nah, because we have another podcast tomorrow. And then I'm just going to wing it, not know what's going on, at least now, you know. And right now, what is it, 10:30 p.m.?
Whatever it is, man.
Yeah, so, you know, we've been getting it all day. Mo went and did some house calls this morning. Yeah, we've been at it all fucking day. And it's like, if you really want to do it, you just got to do it. So right now, you know, we were like, man, we're missing an extension cord, this, that. We could have easily just said, all right, man, let's just call it.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got to keep it going just like anything, you know.
That's the thing. And once you get it started too, man, it's a great time.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I know one of the biggest things I told you when I first started was like, man, like, whatever stuff you got going on with regards to like video work, camera work, whatever, like, I want to learn about it. I want to start it. I want to do whatever. I know that building a platform is like really important, and having, you know, like I've been grateful enough to have like a really good platform, and I have a lot of people that interact with me that listen to what I have to say, and just think upon that, like, man, I could do a lot of good stuff with that, and I should go through with it. But I always want to do it the right way, though. You know, like I do what I can here and there, and I say recently, like I've slipped up, but man, when you finally get things set up, it doesn't even have to be this super nice setup. Like, it could have been us with phone cameras. Like, once you actually get stuff recorded, man, it feels so satisfying. It's like, wow.
And it does, you know, but
you know?
Right now, knowing that, you know, we're going to have crispy audio, we're going to have crispy footage, like, it makes it even more exciting. So, like, a lot of times people say it's not about what you have or what you, but as a business, you should invest in yourself. Just how when you buy some new clippers, you're excited to cut the next day because you're like, hell yeah, I got the new fucking sabers, you know, I'm trying to go use them. Same thing with this, you know, like as a content creator, barber, whatever, you should be excited to, you know, invest in yourself, and like, don't look at it as like, damn, because if you really sit here and look at it, you know, like, that's $600, that's $200, that's 200, you know, there's a lot of money. That's a lot of haircuts. That's a lot of time. But like he said, right now it makes it worth it. You know, the 100%. Shop that we're sitting in right now, my dad and I built it in like a month and a half. It's crazy. It's like unbelievable. You sit here and look at all this stuff, and it's like,
crazy,
dang.
Man. I was talking with your dad last night. I think we sat down here, and that was the first thing I did. I shook his hand. I was like, man, I just want to say congrats. You know, like you guys put in the work. You guys make stuff happen. You know,
and like to be able to know that we can do that. You know, within a month, 2 months, put together a barbershop this nice. Like, that's off of the work that we've put in for years. You know, it's not like out of nowhere we were able to just put a barbershop together. Like, no, that's years of, you know, my dad working and building different things, and, you know, me going to different shops and knowing what's needed. And like, yeah, basically all those years of work have now came together, and we can be able to do that. Like, 100%. We find a building, let's put a barbershop in there, you know?
I was actually talking with I forgot who it was the other day, but nonetheless, I was telling him about how similar thing with like barbering, you know, that I don't give myself enough credit with regards to like the work I've done and where I am now, because like a lot of times I forget that like other barbers can look at me and be like, man, dude, like, how does this dude Mo do it? This and that. And then from my perspective, it's like I just showed up to work like as if it was like I didn't even want to, like, it felt like I was working at Walmart again, where I just showed up, clocked in and clocked out, you know. And I hate that it's like that for me sometimes, but that's where like you have to take that step back and be like, man, dude, like, it's crazy how far.
Appreciate yourself, appreciate your work and everything you've done. I heard Dizzy Wright say that. He said you have to find the beauty within the journey to find like inner peace, and that's true. Like, that's with anything, you know, like cutting hair, build, like, you know, we built kitchens with my dad, any type of work. This right now, you know, like if we would have been frustrated and been like, man, fuck this cable, man, we don't have this, like the mentality behind everything is what it's all about. Like, you could be negative or you could be positive, you know. And if you're
100.
positive, things are gonna fall in smoother, even if like shit is hitting the fan, you know.
Yep.
And it sounds easier said than done, but that's what has to be done in order for things to keep moving forward. You have to think positive, because when shit hits the fan and everything's going wrong, like we're planning this event and
Yeah.
you know, I'm like,
You can't think anything negative. I think like even Edgar said something. He was like, "Man, it's really gonna rain." And first time I thought, like, man, you can't say stuff like that. Like, you gotta just you gotta think of it. You think of
you
it
have
as a
to be
solution,
careful.
not the problem, man. Think of the
Yeah,
solution.
you know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, when I planned this crazy ass event, we're gonna have lowriders, live performances, all this stuff, and I'm thinking like, damn, if it rains, that's gonna really suck. But then at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, well, no, we can still give out toys, we can still give out the turkeys, we can still give out haircuts. You know, the people that want to pull up to get free food can still pull up. Like it'll still work out.
At the end of the day, whoever wants to be there will be there.
Yeah,
you know,
which
is
simple as
the
that.
way it's going to be. You know, you can only wish for perfect circumstances. And man, it's crazy. I told my roommate this when he first moved in with me. I was like, man, Michael, like, you're gonna notice something about my life. Like, all this weird, crazy stuff happens here and there. Like, I'll have a crazy story to share almost every week, it seems like. And even when I'm at my lowest and it feels like there's no way I'm going to overcome whatever I'm going through, somehow, some way, as long as I like put my mind to it, it ends up being all right. And it works out like in some crazy way. And there's been multiple situations where with regards to like money, for example.
Yeah.
And this sounds crazy, but I never stress about like making enough money before the end of the month with regards to like paying bills on time, whatever. Because somehow, some way, it always adds up to being like just enough. And obviously, you want to excel, you want to be able to save, whatever. But I know some people like will sit there and count every single penny they made. And I used to do that in the past, where I would count every single penny I made every single day, because I was like so nervous and so stressed out. And then once I let that stress go, and I was like, hey, don't stress about money, because regardless of what happens, you're gonna figure out a way. And man, it would be nuts. Like, I won't check like my wallet or my Venmo account or my bank account for like 5, 6, 7, 8 days. It'll come time to pay the bill, and then I'll have enough in there. And it's because like, regardless of whatever was happening, I was like, hey, let me make sure I do enough work. Let me make sure everything that's on my plate, I clean it, you know, like I can't complain about this or stress about this if I'm not doing enough, you know.
Exactly.
But if I do everything I can, you know, everything will work out. And
see, that's, as a shop owner, that's one of the biggest frustrations whenever you have barbers like that complain about not having money, and then pass down the walk-ins, or pass down the show up to work late. And it's like, bro, like, if you don't have enough money, it's for a reason. You know, you're not showing up, you're not doing what you got to do. So it's like you said, you have to like kind of let it go and not be so stressed about it, but also do the work you got to do in order to make shit happen, which sometimes means showing up to the barbershop when there's no appointments, when there's no, you know what I'm saying?
Just
like
doing whatever, man. Like anything besides just sitting there, you know? And
promoting on Marketplace, on whatever.
Yeah, I made a video about this like a while back, and I know some people think that kind of stuff's corny, like trying to give advice or whatever, but it was probably the best advice I could give anyone, which is like, dude, when it's hot, you got to eat. Like, don't even think about it. Like, if there's a day you can do 20 haircuts, do fucking 20 haircuts. Don't think about it, because the moment you pass it off or do whatever, the next day you're going to regret it.
And then also with that, you want to be careful. You don't want to take on, like, let's say, more than you can chew, to where your quality starts downgrading, you know, like you got to find the happy medium. But yes, if, you know, there's that dude that says, hey man, I'll give you the $80 if you come me at 6 p.m. You get that $80, you know?
Yeah.
Unless, you know, of course, you got something that's, you know, your daughter's birthday party or your niece's birthday or something, then that makes sense. Turn down the 80, because that memory you're never going to get back, you know? But like you said, you have to, at the end of the day, show up to make ends meet. Like, you can't expect to not work and then be like, oh, why can't I pay my bills, you know? Which is common sense, but
100%. That's why I think I told you this on multiple occasions now, because we've had different situations in the shop, and I told you, man, like, there's only sympathy you can have with so many different occasions before it's like it's going to overwhelm you, and you're going to realize like people are just taking advantage of situations. Like paying bills is something that everyone can use a break on, but that's your due diligence. That's your
you have to do it, man.
Everyone can do it. You know, there's
sometimes
there's
I feel bad. You know, I'm like, damn, like I'm taking booth rent, and I know this guy's car just fucked up. But then at the end of the day, like most people, I don't know if this is human behavior, but the more you give, the more they take. You know, so it comes to a point where people are putting other things before you, as they're. Fuck it, let me go get a tattoo because the barbershop owner can wait on booth rent, and that's when it gets frustrating.
It sucks, man, but that's literally what happens. I mean, how many times have you seen a situation where, just like you said, like someone saying, I need a break, and then that break is him using that same money to pay somebody else for something that's unnecessary, unneeded. So then you start to notice that, like, hey, he does not see me as a necessary thing that he has to pay. Yeah, or an essential, or whatever they want to call it.
It's disrespectful, and that's when
very
things
disrespectful.
You go from, let me help this guy out to, man, fuck this guy, you know what
man,
I'm saying?
There's been a few guys I've cut in the past that, like, they'll ask for that break one time, like, hey, you think you could do it for $30 or whatever, and you hook them up, and they will never repay you back for that. Like there's very little clients that would ever ask for that actually have the pride to pay it back, because most of them would just stick to themselves, not come in and get a haircut. But 9 times out of 10, I mean, I've had a guy that, just as an example, like, said, yo, I'm trying to get a job, blah, 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 and I'm struggling, and could you give me a little break, blah, blah. Mind you, this guy does have money, but regardless, I was like, here, you want a discounted haircut, you can have a discounted haircut, because I guess you do want to come in more frequently, whatever, if that helps you out. And the moment he got his job, this guy doesn't even tip $1. Think about that. Like, yeah, he'll pay the regular price, but he won't tip $1. So all those times, I went back and I gave you a discount, you couldn't go back to me and give me more than what I'm worth to repay it, But it is what it is. I mean, it sucks, but sometimes, you gotta just like, whatever, like, that's the kind of person he is, like, now I know not to deal with him like this. Now I know not to give more breaks, It's a lot of lessons you learn in business. It's
for sure. That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of lessons that comes with being a barber, and you can apply those to any other business. And I feel that any barber needs to come up with not an escape plan, but you need to get away from the chair at some point, and because of that, like, you're going to get tired of people. Yeah.
I mean, as fun as it is, as awesome as it is, dude, I told Chris this today. So Chris is a younger barber that's just starting to get his footing in the barbering game. And I told him, I said, you love this so much, but you're going to come back to me like in a year from now when you're one of the top barbers in the city, and you're going to say, Mo, dude, I'm exhausted. I can't. I don't even know what.
And see, like, I feel like you should, get to the point where you can. It sounds messed up, but to where you're cutting the clients you want to cut.
100%.
And that shouldn't be selfish. It shouldn't be like, no, like, I'm gonna come into work and I'm excited because every single client I have, I'm looking forward to hanging out with them for an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. Like, if there's a client that sits in your chair and you're like, man, fuck, I gotta cut this dude. Like, probably shouldn't be in your chair, but bills got to get paid.
Yeah. And I told that to Chris, not to discourage him, but for him to come up with a plan. Like, that was the whole point of that conversation, was that, like, if I could go back in time and develop a plan, which that was my original goal, was to develop a plan that could get me out, which was originally the hair products. The hair products didn't go the way I wanted, but theoretically speaking, if it did work out, I would be at this point right now where I could only cut the clients I really care for, and everyone else that's disrespectful, that's I mean, you share a lot of time with these people. This isn't like you work at a fast food restaurant where they come in and out. These guys are in your chair for 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. You message these guys back and forth. You text them. You call them.
You see them on a weekly basis. Yeah.
You do all these different things, and yet you feel obliged to cut them because of money concerns. But the reality is, if you had other ways to make money, you wouldn't even have to meet this guy to begin with. this guy couldn't even book a cut with you to begin with if that was the case, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I hope the younger barbers get that. I mean, I know we're still trying to figure shit out and whatnot,
sure.
but nonetheless, like,
Barbering is a great hustle or a great way to make your money. But I always wonder why there was barbers that as the years went by, they got worse and worse and their haircuts got shittier. And I think that's why, because at the beginning, they were real hot. They were real, just filled with motivation, and it was new. It was something new. And then over the years, they get washed out, and they're like, man, fuck this guy. And then
it's crazy.
That
you see it. It's the same story every single time.
Yeah, the nice crispy cut they used to do 2 years ago is now just.
Yeah, and what's crazy is I've noticed like from a barber's perspective, you go get your haircut by another barber. It's like for myself at least, it's always been something that's like I look forward to it. I'm excited to show him because I know that when I'm cutting him, he's paying attention to the way I cut. And I always felt like there's a lot of these guys that like there's a guy I used to work with in Tulsa that, man, his cuts were not good. Like I just really did not like the way he cut. And then I asked him for a cut one day because I was like, man, this guy, like, he's been cutting for a long time. There's no way he's actually that bad. And I sat down in his chair and gave me one of the nicest cuts I ever got. And it's because he cared, because he was like, well, this is Mo. Like, this isn't even about money or nothing. This is like, well, let me take care of him. And that was like what opened that door to me, where I was like, man, I started thinking, these guys really, really are exhausted. Like, they're really overwhelmed.
Yeah, bro, that's really what it is. Like, it's not necessarily about, and you got your barbers that say,
see that right there? It has a timer on there already.
What's the 26?
Yeah, which ones you start first, the board or the cameras?
The cameras. So we got about 10 minutes left. We gotta wrap it up. But
sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. We were saying, damn, this is the first podcast and this happened. I forgot what the fuck I was talking about.
Man, you were talking about how people were exhausted and overwhelmed with barbering.
Yeah. That's just what happens. Like the barbers that are doing 20-minute cuts, 30-minute cuts to be able to make the $800 a day, $900 a day. Like that shit gets exhausting over 20 years, 15 years of doing that. Like I feel like as barbers, we need to figure out, not just as barbers, as anything, a plumber, a carpenter, there has to be a way, where passive income comes in the picture and you're able to enjoy life. Like if you work hard for 10, 15 years, I think you owe it to yourself and your family to be able to say, okay, now I'm going to go to Cancun for a week and not have to answer my phone. And, like if you're working hard for that long and you can never play, like what's the point,
Yeah. What's crazy is people ask me all the time whenever I tell them that back when I was in Norman, I'm talking about like almost 3 years ago, that I made more money in Norman than I did now, with all the experience I've gained, with all the clientele I've gained, all this, and like how is that possible? And I tell them like I'm not able to reach that goal anymore because I changed the way I wanted to cut. I was overwhelmed with the amount of people I saw, so I did 20-minute haircuts for 25, or then it got bumped up to $30. So let's say $30 for a 20-minute haircut back then. I cut really fast, and it wasn't my best work. And I did have clients that I just spent 45 minutes on, an hour on. But 80% of the clients, if not more, were 20-minute haircuts. Now, there's no way in hell I'm going to do a 20-minute haircut. Unless I really, really have to. I could do it still, but I don't want to. I prefer to take on less clients, charge a little bit more. And, yeah, I make less money per day. But the fact that I only work typically... I mean, on the average day, I work 4 to 5 hours, but there's some days I work 9, 10 hours. Some days I work 2 hours. But on the load management side, I don't go home and I'm like, man, my back hurts, man, my legs cramping. And on those long days,
that's one thing I learned from Mo, man, because I used to have those Fridays, Saturdays where I was just killing myself, not eating. He was like, bro, you need to spread your days out. Like,
it's too much. I mean, I tell Noel all the time, like, dude, you got to. Like, I know it sucks in the beginning because you having to tell people no, but force those people that all want to come in on the same day, be like, yo, I'm booked. Like, can I book you in for Monday? And, yeah, you're going to get some people that are upset, but figure out who's upset, who's not upset, and just start filtering them out and start moving them around. And then eventually,
And I think, that's key, like having consistency as opposed to having those, maybe having one busy day, where you just really go crazy. But like those days hurt. And
I build myself up to it, like I start the week really steady, and I build myself up to like a really busy Thursday, Friday, which is like kind of split between both. Like sometimes Thursday is more busy than Friday, but for the most part, Thursday and Friday equally is busy. And then Saturday I drop off and I take like a half day, and then Sunday I'm off, and then I pick
and see
it back
that sounded
up
crazy to me whenever I first met him, because I come from a area, or I don't know, a culture where Saturdays is the busiest day in the barbershop.
Yeah.
And then there'd be days where Mo would be like, oh yeah, I'm only doing 2 haircuts today. Be like, what the hell, bro? You only doing 2 haircuts today? But he did 10 haircuts on Tuesday.
Yeah. It's because I stick to my rules, because I know if I do come in on Saturday and I do that,
you're gonna hate your life.
It's gonna and those are the times when I do need to do it. That's why I go to Tulsa, because when I go to Tulsa on the weekend, people don't a lot. I don't talk about it a lot, but I literally do 30 to 40 cuts like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I don't take a day off. It's straight back to Oklahoma City, and I'm cutting again. Like there's no break in between. And when you work a 14-day straight shift, like that can exhaust you, but that's why I do the load management. So that way, when I build myself up too, I'm like, okay, now I need to make $2,000 before, in 5 days. Now I'm gonna go to Tulsa. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna come here, do as many cuts as I can, and I pass it off like that. But over the course of a month, over the course of a year, in any industry, if you don't have that load management, I mean, you see it in the NBA and the NFL, like guys taking days off, guys having backup players that can come in and sub in for them, like whatever the case is. Like, there's times LeBron sits out of a game just because he wants to be able to play the next game with full energy, So it's something that we take for granted a lot of times. The fact that like we're young, we should work hard, we should do whatever, but we should also pay attention to the fact that like we're gonna get older soon. Like I'm about to be 26 in a week and a half. Yeah. You're what, 28 now? 29, man. Time's flying, bro.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, man.
When we linked up, man, I didn't have kids, I didn't have anything, and now.
Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah,
time flies, bro. But man, it's beautiful though. That's what I love about life, man. You can't go back, you only go forward,
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, having a plan is the key, because you can get. Yeah, I just personally don't want to be that dude that is no offense to the older barbers, but I don't want to have to show up to the barbershop at 40 years old and still have to do 10 to 12 haircuts a day. Like I want to be able to set myself up to where if I am showing up for 10 to 12 hours a day, I'm making a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I think I asked myself that question a while back, and I thought to myself, the most ideal situation would be to where barbering had no income included for me. Like it was something I did just solely out of I wanted to do it, and I would cut people up that I really loved and I really cared about, and I really made a difference in their life. And I took on clients that I really cared about, I really loved, but not a single one of those people ever feels like 100% like, hey, if Mo doesn't cut my hair, I'm gonna flip out, I'm gonna trip out. Because those are the people I want to get away from. Because God,
it's toxic.
Man,
it's toxic clients.
It's too toxic. And not to say like I won't come in clutch. Like if you know me, I come in clutch more than goddamn anyone. I will do whatever it takes.
I mean, right now it's 10:30 at night, and I was like, bro, I need help with this podcast. He was like, I'm there. It
could have been 5 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I come in clutch for the people that take care of me and vice versa, but it's all because, like, there's a grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not remember all the different moments that we hang out, that we do whatever, but that one time that dude depends on you, you got to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need it. And sometimes you can feel that moment. And, like, I've had clients that, man, I've bent over backwards for, like, so many times, like, and I've not seen anything reciprocated. We had an issue earlier at the barbershop with a guy tripping out on a barber, like on some dumb. And I've had stuff that's 10 times worse than that happened to me. And I thought to myself, like, damn, like, I really wish I retaliated. Like, I'm not the type to retaliate, but I really wish I did. I mean, I've had people invite me to
You're
their
feeling
house.
like that dude off of Paid in Full.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm over there thinking to myself, like, bro, I got to get my lick back somehow, you know? Like, man, it's so nuts. I'm like thinking back now all the different times I'd have been fucked, bro.
And
God
yeah,
damn.
man, that's why people would begin to hate the industry and end up, saying I'm done with barbering and I'm gonna go do something else now. And I don't know, it's a beautiful industry because it's a camera shut off.
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Well, I mean,
We have more cameras going on, so we're gonna try to wrap it up. But yeah, there's so many times where people just quit barbering, and it's a beautiful industry. It's done a lot for me, but I understand why people get frustrated. So before you get frustrated, come up with a plan. I'm gonna cut for this long. It's not gonna be.
Guess who showed up right now?
Oh,
Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew, man. He pulled up with the pull up.
Is the door open?
Yep.
Come in.
So we're back. We're back in the cut. We have Andrew back here. Shout out. He showed up. I feel much more comfortable now that we know there's somebody behind the cameras, man.
Dude, the fucking podcast legend right here, man.
Yeah, man.
Man.
So anyway, we were talking about coming up with the exit plan in the barber game to where you don't get sick of it. And by the time that you do get sick of it, you already have other sorts of income coming in or a plan. So like for the next year or two, that's what I'm working with Mo on, is how can we make money from barbering without having to be behind the chair. Yeah. So in my mind, is education, content creation, and building barbershops.
Yeah, what's the crazy part about it all is we haven't like fully done it yet, so it's beautiful to like be able to capture it and show it to people. Like my favorite part about my whole journey, and I think that's why like my I guess my following has been like so strong, is like the people that know me, like, man, they rock with me heavy because they've started me from the jump.
Mo has a cult.
It's not like a cult, but it's just like, it's a bunch of good friends, that really care for me the same way I care for them. And
for real,
the crazy part about it is like, without even realizing it, I was starting from the beginning, like recording my whole journey. And there was like all these little like small achievements or little milestones or little hills I had to climb. And I'll never forget, like without even telling anyone, like one of my biggest goals was like, man, I want to cut the quarterback for OU, because I was at OU at the time, and that dude is like considered the coolest dude on campus. Everyone's talking about him. Everyone's talking about OU football, this and that. I mean, you go get a damn Coney and you'll see like pictures of the OU team on there and whatnot. And I remember whenever it happened, and I cut the dude up and I posted a picture of it. Shout out Spencer Rattler, the guy who was the first one who reached out to me and let me cut him up, asked me for a cut and whatnot, and took care of business. And he even told, at first I wasn't even going to post a picture. I was trying to, respect his privacy. And he was like, nah, man, take a picture, post me up, and I'll repost you. Like, he was real cool about that. And I remember when I did it, instantly it was like probably like 50 to 100 people like that reached out to me, were like, bro, Mo, no way, this and that. And without even like telling people that was my goal, it was almost like here was a bunch of guys like waiting in line to like give me a high five or something like that. That's the best way to describe it. It was beautiful. But yeah, I mean, let's continue, recording the journey and showcasing to people like, hey, it is possible. I mean, bro, honestly, like I don't come from much, you don't come from much. And with that being said, like, man, we've done a lot for ourselves and for other people, and it's time like we continue doing that. Like I've always felt like me myself, my name being Muhammad, that like I was chosen in some way. I was like, man, I was given this name. I got to give this name. I got to do respect upon this name and
for real,
and really give back to people, lead the people. Do what I can. And man, I don't know what I was meant for, or what I was supposed to be doing in life, but I think I found my calling in the sense that like I would love to showcase to people, like, by example, hey, this is how you get yourself out of this situation, or this is how you make yourself better with regards to life or business or relationships or whatever it may be, like
just being a good person overall, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Just having a good team around you, people like Chino back here that has been motivating us for this podcast. Like, he's like, come on, bro, we gotta get microphones. We gotta do this. We gotta do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, I'm kind of like, man, fuck this podcast, bro. And then he'll come in and get a haircut and be like, so what's up with the gear, bro?
Every single time, you know, this guy Chino, I've cut his hair so many times, and so many times he's told me like, man, I got this idea, and I got this idea. Like, by far one of the most motivated guys, you know.
And we opened 2 years ago. He's been coming to us for 2 years, telling us, come on, let's do this. And you know, he doesn't know how to do it, but he's like, I know y'all can do it. Come on, we can, you know, put our minds together. And that's what you need, is people that are gonna push you and like hold you accountable. Like, dude, you told me you were gonna do a podcast, and you haven't done a podcast, you know. So now he's here to witness it.
100%. And the beautiful thing about it is it's not the most complicated, you know. Like, I think sometimes, like, especially like 2 years ago, if I would have seen this board and these cameras, I would have freaked out. But as I started to get more comfortable with stuff, I started realizing, like, man, everything's got a little purpose, and everything's got this, and it's really not that complicated.
It's piecing it together, you know.
That's
it. And doing it, you know. You know, it's been months. I've had this board sitting in my office for like 3 months, but you know, that month I had the extra $500. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it because I'm gonna eventually use it. And then now the opportunities have been coming up, and it's like, okay, now we need to learn how to use it because it's just been sitting here. So this is literally the first podcast on this device right here, you know.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we're gonna do another one with, you know, one of my favorite rappers growing up, which is crazy. And that's part of the journey too, you know, figuring out this content creation. Like, tomorrow I could literally go over there, record this dude, and then, I don't know, the video doesn't get any views or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I'm figuring it out. And it's part of the journey, you know. You just got to keep pushing.
I think like one of the most crucial things in life is like figuring out how to like convert, you know, like if you build something up like an audience or following or whatever it may be, or you build yourself an opportunity, like how do you convert that, you know? And regardless if things go right, go wrong tomorrow, is like you built yourself up, you got everything ready. You've done everything from your side to show up. And
it was a win, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like,
because, I mean, you'd feel, I mean, if you show up and you record and it doesn't go well, you'd feel 10 times worse if he came in and said, yeah, I'm down for a podcast, and you had nothing ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
for real.
For sure.
And then you'd
like, I would have felt like an idiot if I got that opportunity and I wouldn't have bought this thing or these microphones, you know. It would have been like,
100%.
Damn.
Yep. You know what's crazy? Like, even referring back to barbering, like, there's been so many times where I just assume that someone's going to hit me up for a house call that next morning because, like, you get a hunch with some people, like, they want it. And before I leave the shop, I'll just pack up my stuff just in case, you know, like, I just want to be ready. I don't want there to be a situation where I'm not ready for something or I'm not preparing myself for something. And I think especially, like, with regards to, like, building yourself a life outside of barbering, like, that's been the biggest thing we've had to realize, like, how do you prepare yourself for whatever?
Exactly.
How do you get yourself ready? Like, we can't just go buy a house, you know, like, we don't have that luxury. So we have to go get our credit right. We have to go get this. We have to build this. We have to do this. Like, you take all these different steps. That way, whenever you are ready to make that leap, yeah, theoretically, could we push ourselves and force ourselves to get a house? Yeah, we could. But would we be ready for it? I'm not sure.
So, I mean, I think the camera went off. So
it's weird because I can't even hear which direction it came from because it's through the headset.
That one's dead? Oh, so now we know that one's dead.
Okay.
Okay, so we were figuring that out too. So we know that camera only runs for this long. But back to that, Nipsey Hussle, you know, that's who I heard it from. When preparation meets opportunity, it's a beautiful thing. And that's what it boils down to. Like, if you don't,
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. That's the most beautiful part about it, you know, like, and man, you can apply that to every single, like,
because you could show up every day and be like, man, fuck this. And then, but if you don't show up when that moment happens, when Spencer Rattler calls you or when, you know, all these people call you, you're going to be like, damn, I'm not ready. But
you're not ready for it. That's what's crazy. Like, even with two quick little examples. Like, I remember when I was barbering, when I first got to Norman, I did a house call. And back then I was a little dumb with the way I, like, just handle myself, I guess. And I remember I had a feeling these three football players were going to come hit me up. And at this point, I hadn't cut any football players at all before. Maybe like one or two, but they were like friends and stuff. It wasn't like a new guy I cut up. I remember I was waiting on these 3 guys to hit me up, and I was sitting there, and I smoked a little bit of weed, man. And that was one of the dumbest things because I wasn't prepared. So when they showed up, I wasn't in my right state of mind, and I was tripping, and I wasn't giving my best haircuts. And I already wasn't that good at cutting hair, so like that didn't help it, you know. And I told myself, I was like, man, from this point forward, I never in my life want to not be prepared for something when it comes, you know. And even referring back to like a couple weeks ago when me and Ruben played, maybe it was last week, like, man, it felt so good to prepare myself over and over. I wasn't preparing for him, but I was just preparing myself in general. Like, dude, when I get that call where I need to play soccer, where I want to give my best performance, I want to be ready for it. Like, I want to be the best damn soccer player I'm capable of being. And, man, when I played him and I felt that confidence, like right from, like, the jump. I was confident before, but then right as you start playing, the nerves go away. And I felt that confidence in, like, the first couple seconds. I was like, man, this feels good because I know for a fact I'm going to win, you know?
Yeah, you see, he no matter how good he could have been, he wasn't prepared, and you were. So then at that point, you just...
Two drastic opposites, you know? Like, it... And I don't want to, like, discredit the fact that I feel like I am a good player, but that wasn't the point. The point was, like, who was the more prepared for that?
And that's what it all comes down to. Because
I'm sure Ruben's, like... you know, made a few guys look stupid on the soccer field that they thought they were prepared for him, you know. But regardless of that, you know, let's continue to prepare ourselves, you know, let's continue to make things happen. And, man, let's enjoy the luxury of it, you know. Like, for me, there's always been that moment I've tried working towards. It's like that, man, I finally made it moment, you know. Like, I don't know what feeling is yet, but,
even then, man, it's not, I feel like that feeling will never truly be there because the journey is it, you know. Yeah. Like, you might be all excited, like, oh man, you know, I can't wait to do this, and then you do it, and it's like, okay, well, now what, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that, man. You know, if it doesn't come, it doesn't come, you know. But I just love working towards that moment because, man, like, for example, that moment may not have hit you in that barbershop yet, like next door, the one that you fully built out and everything. But that moment's hit, like, other people already. Man, every single one of my clients come in, man, did you do something? Like, it's crazy to a point where people are seeing the exact same shop, like, nothing's even changed. And they're like, man, did you do something? Because every time they walk in, it's like a reminder, like, holy cow, like, this thing is crazy. And we had an older Mexican dude walk in here one time. This is, like, earlier in the week. Walks in, and he was like, what the heck? Like, he's like, what? He's just, like, dumbfounded. And after a few moments, he goes, I would have never guessed in a million years that when I walked in here, it was going to look like this.
Yeah, man.
So, like, even with you, you know, you may not have had that moment, but for him, that guy was, I mean, he shit himself, you know? Like, he couldn't believe it.
A lot of times, like you said, we don't take the time to appreciate what we've built. And, you know, with these shops, I feel like we're in the hood, but people in the hood still deserve a nice place to come to, you know. Just because you're in the hood doesn't mean that, like, shit needs to be ran down and, you know.
Yeah. I think the hood is where you make it, man. You know, like, I think a lot of people live a beautiful life in what's, quote-unquote, the hood, you know. And, man, I've seen some of the nicest houses in the middle of a broke-down neighborhood, you know. Me, myself, I've lived in nice, like, it's crazy to say that, like, man, I've had to move around so many times growing up due to, like, evictions and whatever. And what's crazy is, like, my family always, because the housing used to be cheaper than it is now. But so you could live, like, in a 3-4 bedroom house for, like, less than $1,000, and it was affordable and whatnot. And we would be living in these nice neighborhoods. But then when you came inside of our house, you know, like, our house is run down, or no electricity, no water. I mean, it was just miserable. So, like, that was the hood, you know what I'm saying? And in my eyes, I was like, yo, I might live in this nice neighborhood, but, dude, I do not live like anyone else out here. Like, this is miserable. Yeah. There's people in the hood living way better than me, you know? But, yeah, man, that's why I say, like, the hood's where you make it because, like, I remember when I first started working up here, you had told me, like, man, you feel comfortable out here like that? And I was like, yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not walking around the streets. I'm just right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool right here. I feel comfortable. I've been around worse.
And I just know, you know, a lot of people don't like seeing homeless people walking around. They don't like seeing the ugly in the world, you know?
100%. I think a lot of people, if they're not comfortable seeing that, and they should never be, you know what I'm saying? It's not a cool thing or anything like that. But I do think they need to go experience life. They need to go to like LA or something and go walk
see
around.
some shit, huh?
Really humble themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, man, we're running out of time here. We would love to sit here and keep chatting, but this is the first episode. We're going to keep this going. This is just on the Barber Lifestyle YouTube channel. So, you know, we'll still be able to shoot other podcasts. And now that we got a flow of everything, it's going to be a consistent thing. Tomorrow, I'm shooting a podcast with Dizzy Wright. Mo is going to come by and help me with the cameras. And today, that was a point, is to make sure that the audio was working good, that we plugged everything in. That way, tomorrow, we can just pull up and, you know, knock it out. We figured out the setup. I low-key broke the chair, but some super glue will fix it. And, yeah, man, thank you guys for tuning into this first episode. Any last words, Mo?
Man, I just want to say thank you to you. You know, I appreciate you bringing me along the journey. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for all the work you put in. And thank you guys. You know, if you guys, anyone that watches this, you're a real one. If not, you know, hopefully we find you one day.
And shout out to everybody that's been, you know, showing up to the barbershop and just showing us love week in and week out.
Yeah, man.
And to the
finally did it, man.
For real,
finally
bro.
happened, bro.
Finally happened. We've been talking about this shit for 2 years.
Yeah,
but
bro.
yeah, man, we got it done. You know, we're gonna get the button set up to where, you know, we can have clapping, and we're gonna put on a show for you guys nonetheless. But this was the first episode. We got it going. So thank you guys for tuning in, and remember to subscribe, like, do all that good stuff.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
And shout out to Chino for motivating us and, you know, helping us out.
What a good guy.
Peace.
And God bless.